evening! We greatly appreciate you coming out. We're lucky we had the Samurai the Spoken Word out to give us some storytelling, some slam, and whatever it is Mikey does. After this, we have Michael Wonder playing live, and then we have the fashion show, so thank you very much. Oh, and to Elizabeth Stayer, congratulations on graduating. We can't wait to see you tonight. Without further ado, Mikey.
Hello. Before I start the show here, I just have to give one shout out. As many of you know, the music industry lost a pioneer, an innovator, and kind of one of my heroes. So here's to MCA from the Beastie Boys. There's only one way to start this show off. Kick it! So we're here dreaming, and I want to tell you about a dream. It's a little bit of background. I grew up a scrawny, skinny kid. I was kind of a misfit. Not a lot's changed. Except the scrawny part. I didn't know any of the kids I went to school with. They all knew each other since birth, so I didn't fit in. And I was bullied and beaten up every day of my life. I would go home in tears, crying to my mom. I never let them see me cry. It wasn't always a one-on-one fight. It was usually 3, 4, 5, 6 guys holding me down while the rest of them kicked me and punched me and pulled my hair. I had long hair, one of the only kids in a redneck school to have long hair. I was the first one in my class to wear an earring. I was called a weirdo, a freak, and a faggot on a daily basis. It was not fun being me growing up. I would go home crying, begging my parents to move. That wasn't going to happen. Begging my parents to transfer me to a different school. That wasn't going to happen. I didn't know what homeschooling was. I just wanted to stay home. I didn't want to go back. But every day, I got on that bus and went back to that fucking hellhole and got my ass kicked. Then one day, I saw a movie that kind of changed my life. I identified with the main character in the movie. He got his ass kicked. He was a misfit. He gave me strength and kind of an idea of where I wanted to go with my life. And I felt myself, cheering him on as one by one he picked off all of his bullies, culminating in him kicking the shit out of Johnny in the end.
Yeah.
Of course, the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Now I come home crying, not to move, but to learn karate. And that didn't happen. Until one day my dad came home from work and said, go get in the truck. I had different ideas for what I wanted to do with my day. I was 14 years old. Of course, I had a lot of important shit to do. He said, I told you to go get your ass in that goddamn truck. And he took me to a small building in La Vista, Nebraska, introduced me to a man named Ron Christenham. That's the only time you'll probably ever hear me call him by name, because this man has earned my respect, earned a lot of people's respect, and the only name I ever call him is Sensei. He gave me some self-worth, gave me confidence, strength, and basically showed me where I fit. He took me for what I was, just a bullied, misfit kid. And here I stand before you, 23 years later, one of the youngest fifth-degree black belts in the world in Aikido. And I've actually earned the honor and respect for people to call me Sensei. So if you ask me, coming from a scrawny, misfit kid, it's a fucking dream come true right there. Well, I told you that so I could tell you this. I've got a little lesson that I like to teach to my students. And this originally came from a blog post that I put on our website. I've modified it just a bit to fit this event. If you want to read the martial arts version, I do have it here, but as you can see, I brought some flowers to the stage. Now, flowers, they add aesthetic beauty, usually feelings of peace and love. But there's a deeper meaning to these flowers. Flowers and all plant life begin with a simple seed. If left alone, that seed may or may not develop. But with care and nurturing, it will grow and flourish into something beautiful, much like a performer stepping on the stage. If left alone, they may or may not fully develop or find their voice. But if they're nurtured by their peers and mentors, only then will the art begin to grow and bloom. A flower does not just sprout into a beautiful plant that we see and recognize as a flower. It's very basic, sometimes very unattractive when it's in the budding stage. It's only after this nurturing and maturing stage that it will bloom to reveal its inner beauty. And art is much the same. In the beginning, it's awkward, very basic, and sometimes downright unattractive. The flower doesn't give up, and neither should the artist. Continue to develop your art, practice hard, and with enough training, your art will bloom. I'm often reminded of a quote that I saw some time ago. Oddly enough, it was in someone's bathroom, which is where I do all my deep thinking. Not quite sure who came up with this, because the author was stated as unknown on this plaque, but I think it fits well into the discussion. The quote says, "I will not complain that my rose bush has thorns, but rather marvel in the fact that my thorn bush has grown a rose." Literal interpretation is easy enough to understand. If you spend your life worrying about the thorns, you won't be able to have time to enjoy the roses. Now, if you put the artsy twist on it, if someone spends all their time focusing on what's wrong or bad with their art, they'll never enjoy what's beautiful about it. Try to spend your time on the stage looking for the good or the roses in your art. Don't worry about the thorns, because just like a flower, there'll always be thorns in life. With a little care, they can be pruned and trimmed away. Each and every person that steps onto a stage, puts pen to paper, clicks the shutter on a camera, paints a brush of paint on canvas, or however you choose to express yourself, is that thorn bush seeking to grow a rose. It's their duty of their peers, their mentors, and even the audience to nurture that thorn bush and help point out the roses that grow. As time goes on, the thorns will be cut away to reveal the beautiful flower that is budding. As you take time in this event, check out all that there is to offer. Seek out the roses and enjoy the beauty instead of pointing out the thorns. If we all do this, we can grow roses together and enjoy the garden that is art and bloom. I just want to read a few things from a book that I'm working on. It will be out sometime, I don't know when. But it's called, I have one for sale, but this is my new one I'm working on. It's called The Nightmare Parade. And this poem is called The Nightmare Parade. Tell me what you see when you lay down your head. Are your dreams sweet or are they filled with dread? Does the devil unlock the secrets you keep when you lay down your head and fade off to sleep? You learn the lessons that the finest schools can't teach, about the demons that plague you and the goals you won't reach. Never mind the monster that lives under your bed. He doesn't hold a candle to the ones in your head. You may scream out piercing the still of night, or lay there silent, frozen with fright. As you whisper out a desperation prayer, you realize if anyone cared, they would be there. So how are you feeling as bedtime creeps near? Do you whimper and cry? Do you feel the fear? You're fighting your mind and you will never win. Turn out the lights, let the nightmare parade begin. This is a true life nightmare. These next couple are true life nightmares that I've kind of lived through. This is called Click. Click, I hear the clock. Click, it won't ever stop. Click, I rack my brain. Click, for a way to kill this pain. Click, another minute goes by. Click, and I ask myself why. Click, as the time draws near. Click, I start to feel the fear. Click, I start to doubt. Click, is this my only way out? Click, nowhere to run. Click, shit, forgot to load the gun. And this is called My Monster. It's not about what you think. I said it was a nightmare, not a fantasy. I feel like Dr. Frankenstein, just like a good old-fashioned creep show, because I've created a monster, never knowing how large it would grow. At first it was so innocent, wish I'd known before it was too late, that this creature that was fostered with love would fester with evil and hate. It slowly started eating me, took my family, my friends, and my health. With no one else to turn to, I knew I must kill him myself. At first I tried to drown him in bottles of barley and rye, but that only made him grow stronger. The bastard just wouldn't die. Then I lit up a big fat torch to fill his head with smoke and with mirrors, but not even that would faze him. He lives on confusion and fears. So I tried to poison my monster with lines so long, so thick, and so white, but that only made him grow faster and left me too weak to fight. Finally, I decided to shoot him, for I thought I had nowhere to run, but that only led to embarrassment. I was too fucked up to load the gun. Now the monster is sleeping, but just because he's sedate doesn't mean he's gone forever. He'll just sit in the shadows and wait. I can always count on a visit. In moments of weakness and pain, seems I always forgive him and say it's good to see you again. This kind of outlines a fear of mine. A fear is something I try to keep in my head all the time. Just make sure you pay attention to details. It's called hindsight. Alarm rings, my eyes open wide. I see bright sunlight streaming in from outside. All day, I see all my friends. I can't even remember everyone I've seen by the time the day ends. Come home, dinner's hot on my plate. It's gone so fast I couldn't even tell you what I ate. Late night, movie on TV. You wouldn't move your head, so I couldn't even see. Next day, the alarm rings, but I can hear the sound. But I can't see the sunlight as I'm shuffling around. Darkness, the light has gone away. How will I ever function in this blackened world today? I hear voices as you guide me down the street, but I can't put a single face to all the voices that I meet. This dinner, it tastes and smells so great, but I can't see a single thing to put upon my plate. And TV, I can hear what they say, and it doesn't even matter if your head is in my way. Don't take shit for granted. Just got a couple more left. This is called walls. Stone walls built up with dreams trapped inside. So many mighty heroes set on pedestals up high. But a crack in the wall has so much to reveal, and a fading facade shows that what you see isn't what I feel. This is a real world where tough guys do cry, because their dreams can get shattered and their heroes can die. And one thoughtless act turns their world upside down, and their strength or their weakness can put them dead in the ground. So I'll build up my walls, now with a thicker stone, and try to find heroes in this world so alone. And I'll pick up my dreams lying on pieces on the floor, and hide beside my walls and not hurt anymore. And this last one, I wrote this to get something off my chest. I work in a nursing home, and you gotta deal with a lot of shit working there. And this is, yeah, seriously. This is for Margie. It's called I Wasn't There. Did you feel fear when you felt the pain? Was it cold and lonely or like a soothing rain? Did anyone hear your dying prayer? I don't know, I wasn't there. When you closed your eyes, were you alone? Were there words worth chiseling into your stone? Or did you just slowly breathe your last breath of air? I don't know, I wasn't there. Were you glad to go, or did it make you cry? Did you throw up your arms and wonder why? Or did you just slip off without a care? I don't know, I wasn't there. When my time comes, will I be afraid? Or will I just lay down in the bed that I've made? Will I think that life is so unfair? When I go, you won't be there. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to let the talent get up here. I don't know why they gave me this badge that says talent, but...
I just wanted to do a quick notice, I forgot to mention this up front, that this is to benefit the St. Monica's House. So if anyone would like to contribute, all of the money will go directly to St. Monica's House. They help women and children, well, women with children and women in rehab situations, and so a lot of benefit in the Lincoln community. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get our next samurai up here. This guy has so many stories, and some of them are kind of crazy. It's a wonder he's not fucking dead. So, we're going to bring up Mr. David Nesbitt.
Not without lack of trying. It's very odd. First of all, I have to make a clarification and also a disclaimer, so work with me on this. First of all, the clarification. Ann posted that you would see me on stage wearing a skirt. And let me put the mic down because this is going to be rather sudden and abrupt. But it's called a kilt, you ignorant bag of flesh! Okay, I feel better just having gotten that off my chest. The other one is a disclaimer, and I kind of want to throw that out to internet land. I have a sneaking suspicion that over this week we have picked up a number of new fans who are going to be watching us. And I'd just like to point out that my set was written by a thing called Life. It involved a number of people, but primarily I'm going to be the one that assembled it, mixed it, remixed it, etc., etc. So please do not Google my, no, go ahead, Google my material, because you're not going to fucking listen to anything else I do anyway. Now then, I have been spending pretty much the last few days putting this show together, and in way of, basically by way of apology, I would like to say that I had some material I was working on, and then I had to do a whole bunch of shit. And so that material will be waiting until the 13th at Marley's, allow me to pimp just a little bit, and the 21st at the pizza shop. So instead, you're going to kind of get a greatest hits moment from me. So some of you have heard this story before. If so, give it away, knock yourself out, do whatever you want to do. Go to the bar, have a drink. Some of you have not heard this story before, so enjoy the show. And it begins with, I've been kind of having fun with this intro just to kind of test and see who in the audience has been running in kind of my crowd. And it kind of begins with, allow me, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. Okay, now if there is not a single Rocky Horror fan in this audience, I may go home. So allow me one more time. Allow me, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. How strange is it? Thank you very much. Just want to see if anybody's feeling receptive today. This strange journey begins in a very bizarre period of time. Some of us experienced it, some of you have seen it in John Hughes films. It's called the 1980s, although my 1980s were not John Hughes kind of 1980s. My 1980s were a bit more, I don't know, I'm trying to think, Trainspotting was more 1988, American Psycho, with elements of Scarface and a few other things. Not that I was like the guy sitting around in the big mansion with all the cocaine, I just kind of like watched those guys from afar going, that's kind of cool and yet really terrifying at the same time. And my introduction to that strange little world came through a gentleman by the name of Rob. And I met Rob at the University of Wisconsin. Rob and I kind of knew that Rob was different from the rest of us. A lot of us were driving cars made in the 1970s. I had a 1976 Chevy Nova. Wonderful car. It could take a beating, trust me, because I ran it through hell and back. Rob showed up in a brand new BMW 3 Series. That was my first hint that Rob was a little different. The next thing I knew about Rob was that he was wandering around wearing a U.S. Army BDU jacket that had jump wings and patches and things, and that I also learned that Rob spoke like 5 languages fluently. I think he spoke, aside from English, Russian, Czech, Slovak, Polish, and German. So you dropped him anywhere in Central Europe, he was pretty much going to be okay. Rob and I basically started hanging out. I have been an avid martial artist pretty much my entire life. Mikey and I have that in common. I've also been an avid pistol shooter since about the time I could get my hand around the butt of a gun. And so we had that in common, and I soon discovered that I was actually a better fighter than Rob and a better pistol shot, and he took note of this. And so after a while of doing this, and Rob kind of scouting me out, and me checking him out, Rob would go, hey, I'm going to be going on a business trip. Would you like to come along? What do I got to do? Okay, here's what you do. It's very simple. I'm going to go to a club. Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah. And I'm going to go talk to somebody in this club, and I will be behind this door. And what you will do is you will stand in front of this door, and if anybody wants to come in there, you say, no, fuck off. And I went, okay, cool. What do I get out of this? $500. I'm in. I was a college student. I was not making money. So at that point, $500, especially in 1986, was an insane amount of money. Excuse me. And so I would go and I would hang out with Rob, and I'd start seeing the Chicago club scene. I'd see the Madison club scene, the Milwaukee club scene. And I would like go there, and we'd go to the club, and I'd just hang out by the door, and, hey, can we come in there? No, fuck off. And I kind of got the no fuck off part really good, and after a while I started making myself look bigger than I was and all that. And I kind of got to be pretty good at watching Rob's back, and we kind of once again felt each other out a little bit more, and that's when things got a little serious, because one day after about 6 months of going out and doing business trips, Rob asked me another interesting question, and that question was, do you have a passport? Yeah. Cool. I have a business trip. We're going to go to Berlin, Germany. And I went, oh, okay. Now, here's what I should have thought. Berlin, Germany. First of all, at that point in time, I knew 4 words of German, ja, nein, and Bier bitte. That was it. Which, as Dave knows. Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much covers anything I'm usually interested in terms of, most of the stuff you would find in Berlin. What I didn't think about was that I might need to know like how to get in touch with the US Embassy, how do I get an attorney, would you please stop kicking my ass with a gun? Any of those things are really important to know, especially if we're going to go to Berlin, Germany on a fucking business trip. And so we travel, and it started with a plane ride, which was very, very long. We started in Chicago, and then in Chicago, we flew from Chicago to New York, and then from New York to London, and then from London to Bonn. And that's about 11 hours worth of flight. When we arrived in Bonn, Germany, here's what happened. We went out, we had a couple of huge steins of beer. We went out and we both scored and dropped acid and got laid. This, for most people, is a bitchin' trip to Germany. That was the 6 hours we were waiting in Bonn to catch our connection to Berlin. Needless to say, that the pace of life picks up under certain sets of circumstances. And hanging around Rob, it was kind of like going from driving my 1976 Chevy Nova to driving a Ferrari 458. The speed level, the intensity, everything else was going up, and I was really loving this because I was a very isolated kid growing up. So now all of a sudden I'm seeing the real world. The problem is I didn't really understand the fact that the real world has real consequences when things head south, and they can head south very, very quickly. The first part of the trip where I began to realize how bad things can get is when I realized we were going to be taking a train from Bonn to Berlin. Now, some of you did not grow up during the era of the Cold War, so I have to explain a small matter of geography to you. Bonn was in West Germany. Berlin was way deep in East Germany, which was a hardcore, very totalitarian state. And what happens when you get onto the train is that you proceed to go from Bonn. Then you catch another train, because there's something about that you have to catch a different train coming through there. You go about another half a mile, and then the train stops. I'm like, we can't be in Berlin yet. I mean, I'm high as a kite at this particular point in time. My pupils are about this big. I'm tripping my head off on acid. And that's when the security agents from the East German Volkspolizei came on to check all of our papers. A quick little hint for any of you travelers out there. Should you be traveling through a totalitarian state, whether it be Myanmar, China, Texas, whatever, Arizona, do not do this under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs, because these drugs are what they call psychoactive. What happens is that your mind starts seeing the hallucinations you have are based off of the things that are happening in the background. And so when the guys come walking on, you have the classic moment of the guy walking on wearing the stereotypical, long black trench coat, and then he has his two guys alongside of him wearing army uniforms carrying AK-47s. This is a moment where your heart rate goes from 70, 70, 70 to 10. You just jumps out of your chest when you realize I'm going to have to actually deal with these people. It did not help when the guy finally got to me and I looked up and I realized that I am really, really tripping at this moment, and I had to separate the fact that no, he does not actually have skulls in his eyes. I am just tripping my eyeballs off at this moment. And so I had the skulls in the eyes moment, and he's like, passport. And he takes the passport, and I'm sure he was very, very pleased at the fact that he was scaring the crap out of the capitalist American in front of him. And I took the passport back, and we were along our way. The rest of the train ride was really interesting because we're going through East Germany. I'm still tripping my eyeballs off, and it was kind of like taking a trip through the animated sections of Pink Floyd's The Wall. There were people hanging out of trees, everything had turned gray, there were ghosts going up against the walls, and then after a while I just kind of put my head down, to get me out of this shit. We arrived in Berlin, I took 2 steps off, I kissed the ground at that moment. Then Rob was like, okay, let's go out and party some more, sounds great. We proceeded to decompress from the whole trip. We crash out, we wake up, and then the next evening, Rob was like, okay, we gotta go out and do some business. Okay, cool, this is gonna be the interesting part. We're looking forward to seeing Berlin, kind of seeing the more interesting warped sides of town, and we're heading toward the wall. The Berlin Wall was, a rather intense piece of work. It kept people on one side from going to the other side, and if you tried to cross from East Germany into West Germany, they'd kill you. And so occasionally, maybe I was still getting over the LSD, I'm not sure, but I swear to God I heard gunshots. But that could have been happening further down the block. It was kind of an interesting town. And as you get, the other thing about the Berlin Wall was that this may be the place where World War III begins. This will cause property values in the local area to plummet, because nobody wants to be there when the tanks come rolling through and the tear gas and the nerve gas goes flying. And so it gets worse and seedier, and we're like 2 blocks away from the wall, and we come up to this kind of deserted, looks like a deserted building. We go walking inside, and we come walking in. It's like a squatter's place, and we're walking past all these people who've been there, not particularly well washed. They're just trying to find a place to live and a place to work. And then we go down into the basement, and that's when we took a turn into the left and into a room, and Rob shows me to his buddy. And his buddy is standing there with a guy next to him, and his friend is carrying an AK-47. Rob has a big envelope, and the guy that he has to talk to has a suitcase. I'm still checking out the guy with the AK-47, wondering what's going on. And did I mention I speak 4 words of German? I don't know dick about what these people are talking about. All I know is that Rob talks to his buddy talks to the guy with the AK-47, and the next thing I know, I have the muzzle suppressor cranked into my neck. Now I have a weapon crammed into my neck, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. And I'm trying really hard to be about as cool as a 19-year-old can be when somebody has jammed an automatic weapon in your neck, which is not really cool. And I look at Rob, and I'm like, I'm not saying anything, but I'm totally like, what the fuck is going on? And then Rob looks at me and he says, well? And then I realized it was pretty much my responsibility to get myself out of whatever shit that Rob has just gotten me into. My grandfather was in the SAS. He taught me an awful lot about weapons, self-defense, and how to fight. There's actually a really neat trick. Should you ever find yourself in the circumstances of having an automatic weapon placed alongside your body, first you get the affected part of your body out of the way. Then you grab the barrel of the gun. Then you pull hard. You get the gun moving forward. Then you slam forward like you're checking somebody in a hockey game by taking your shoulder and placing it in the magazine well. This will take the butt end of the weapon and slam it right underneath his chin. So I proceed to sit there, rehearse it 2 times in my mind, and then proceed to try this little maneuver. Apparently I did it right, because all I remember is feeling this sudden sense of impact and then looking down and there's an unconscious guy, and now I'm the guy holding the automatic weapon. Yay! There's a very important thing you should do, by the way, when you pull this particular maneuver, should you do it, and should you do it successfully. This is kind of a closer when you've pulled a maneuver like this, and that is, do not look surprised that it worked. That just kills the whole effect right there. And I had that very odd moment where I know enough about weapons to take a look at it, make sure that the safety's on, and then pull back the bolt, and yeah, there's a fly fucking round in there. Okay, so now I'm looking cool. Now Rob looks at his buddy, and his buddy looks at him, and then they both look at me, and then they both start laughing, and I realize I have been part of some kind of strange German drug-dealing initiation ritual. And I am not happy about it. Somewhere along the line, I forgot that I had an automatic weapon. I'm pretty sure I could have solved a couple of issues at that point. So they proceed to exchange their packages, and then we go walking out. And then I had a moment of intelligence, which is I'm about to walk onto the streets of West Berlin carrying an AK-47, which is not a good idea. Your average German cop these days carries about as many weapons as your average American troop going through Afghanistan. So I had the sense to realize I should probably break the weapon down and get rid of this. So I hid the gun and got rid of it, and we go walking out in the street, and I have the sense to go, I'm going to wait a couple of blocks, and then I'm going to turn to Rob and say, what the fuck was that all about? And Rob said, well, my buddy over there said you look pretty young, and he wanted to see if your nuts had dropped. Why didn't you tell them they had? I wanted to see if your nuts had dropped. And that's when I said, okay, and I did not talk to Rob that night. I did not talk to him that morning. I did not talk to him that afternoon. I did not talk to him for the 14-hour plane ride from Berlin to Bonn to London to New York to Chicago. And the entire time I'm rehearsing, telling him how I'm going to bail on your little operation. I don't really want to do this in an airport because I'm reasonably certain a customs agent is probably going to want to have a little conversation about that. And so we get to Chicago, I'm still not talking to him. I get into my car and I am gone. 3 days later, I get a phone call from Rob. Hey Dave, come over to my apartment, we gotta talk about something. Cool, because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we totally have to talk about something. I'm out of your operation later. So I drive over to Rob's apartment and I go walking inside. And as I turn the corner to come walking into Rob's apartment, an envelope comes over like a football and hits me square in the chest, which I managed to catch. And I realized, wow, there's some heavy stuff in this envelope. It is a manila envelope about yay by yay and it is full of something with some weight in it. And Rob's like, open it. I look. In my entire life, I had not seen a $100 bill, let alone a manila envelope filled full of them. And I'm sitting there doing this. Like, you have that moment where you're doing the classic thing. You're like flipping through, that looks like real money to me. Oh my God. And so I'm having that moment of shock holding this much money. And then I'm looking at Rob, and then Rob looks at me, and he says, so what are you doing Friday? I don't know, man. What you got planned? Thank you very much. Travis? Real life stories, strange moments in my life. Our next contestant, if you will, our next samurai is the great and mighty Travis Hierman, who I don't know if he's had as strange a life as mine, but he's certainly a much better writer than I am. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has up here. Travis? Who's after Travis? Joe. Okay. Joe.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out to Dreaming. Give generously to St. Monica's House. And I also have, well, in case you don't know me, I'm a writer, novelist, screenwriter, among other various and sundry titles. And I've got some books out there by the front desk that are for sale. Feel free to go buy one of those, and I would be happy to sign it for you. What I'm going to read right now is a piece called A Haiku Pilgrimage. And this was published in an anthology called Healing Waves. It was a benefit anthology for Japanese tsunami relief. Here we go. 1. Coming back, so many pathways through the spring grass. A haiku by Buson. From the bottom of the chasm where the walls are black with night and the demons, hers and mine, mostly hers, still gnash their teeth and dash in and steal strips of flesh, the sky is a narrow strip of dark, star-dusted ribbon. The sides of the chasm are jagged and fraught with peril. Amidst demons busy fighting among themselves, a soft, formless lump of matter sits, quiescent, momentarily forgotten by its tormentors. It looks up at the stars and longs. A star winks, a brief, effervescent twinkle, and the lump is moved, energized. It knows itself to be the object of that twinkle. It glances about. Demons gnash their fangs and sharpen their claws and throw stones at one another. The lump raises itself up on formless pseudopods and lunges for the chasm wall, throwing itself up, climbing, reaching higher. Every step fought for, every fresh handhold of victory, higher, higher, until an appendage thrown up onto a narrow ledge allows a rollover to breathless respite. The demons below howl a cacophony of rage and frustration. What next? The way up is still long. Laugh, drink, revel, mourn, play, work, grieve, seize, dare, love. Each step a new handhold. To live or to live? That's the question. These are its thoughts. It looks again for the twinkle, but there is none. It was a discrete event, ephemeral. Sometimes over the howls from below, the song of the stars whispers down into the chasm and vibrates a caress across the lump's surface, resonating. The higher it climbs, the clearer it can hear the song. Shall it seize days like handholds? Is it possible to seize every single day? Does one dare grasp a handhold even a bit loosely? The star song beckons, familiar. The lump thinks it lived there once. It knows them. Knew them, so it climbs. 2. Why, my dear pilgrim hat, you must accompany me to view the plum trees. Haiku by Basho. The jacket is too warm for a day like today. Marie says, "Nice jacket," and strokes the supple black lambskin sleeve, nodding appreciatively. I leave it on. The festival in front of the museum is a polite hubbub of vendors, buyers, and canopies. We wend our way through the grid of food stands and trinket sellers. Browned, downtrodden sakura petals drift across the concrete. Children run past with yakitori clusters of squid tentacles on sticks. I buy each of us a grilled ear of corn brushed with yakisoba sauce. The smells and sizzlings of grilled octopus balls, morsels of meat on skewers, the scent of her long black hair. As she tosses it, it brushes the backs of her nut brown thighs and wafts an invisible cloud in her wake. I follow her. Sweat runs down my back. I look pretty damn good in this jacket. Her hair smells like jasmine, and she couldn't be more different than her. We sit on the low wall and munch corn. Ultraman, or in Japanese, Urochugoman, since that language never mashes any consonants together, in his red jumpsuit and silver helmet and insectoid eyes, is entertaining with karate-like moves a herd of kids and parents, then posing for pictures in front of the museum. We talk about things we share, Iaido and sword things, assistant language teacher things, history things, culture things, and have our picture taken with Ultraman. I laugh more than she does. Then we go into the museum where the swords are. 3. From today, the dew will erase the inscription on my hat. I am one of two traveling together. Basho. I move closer, drawn by the scent of your hair, and you move away. Your aloofness deepens, but you will pull in your breath and let it out to the side of the gleaming curves, like deadly slivers of quicksilver, as beautiful now as the day they were forged in centuries long gone. Your skill with a katana is better than mine, precise, disciplined, yet tentative, holding back the strength necessary to sever a limb. Your spirit is too kind. The sword's ancient lethality and beauty strike chords in us, but the awe is the only thing we share. Half Japanese, half Chinese, all Hawaiian, you cannot reconcile your own heritage. The cruelty of the Japanese to the Chinese in decades not so far distant, Nanking, Manchuria. There is no comfort, you say with a wry grin. In the gardens around the museum, the sakura blossoms, so breathtaking just a few days ago, have nearly gone. I want to show you other things, discover other things with you, wish that you would touch my arm again, and I would touch yours, but you don't, and you won't. A single warm kiss on the mouth, fleeting and drenched in sake, bestowed like an unexpected gift, once ignited an affection that I now cannot shake. There is a Zen saying that goes something like, the only truly happy man is one who can forget the past and the future. Like the sakura blossoms, the taste of the kiss is nearly gone, and the sweat trickles down my back. 4. In this world, we walk on the roof of hell, gazing at flowers. Isa. Buddy, you're not in high school, he tells me. No shit. But I still feel like I'm trying to slip her notes in class and hope she'll smile back. I'm too goddamn old to behave like I'm in high school. I've spent too many years in a prison with no bars and no walls. I tell myself it's okay to act like a kid sometimes, especially now. Under the neon lights and flashing pachinko and karaoke signs, we pass a gaggle of spectacular women dressed for clubbing. Boots and tight skirts and teased hair and giggles and big slow eyes, with their delicate mincing Japanese walk, and sprays of toys dangling from their sparkling cell phones. We stop and watch them go. I'm glad that candy can rot only one's teeth, or else I would be blind by now. I thrust my hands even further into the pockets of my jacket. Marie said she's going to be there, he says. I shrug and nod, but I remember exactly what she said and when she would be there. But I don't expect her to show. Come on, man, he says. You need to meet some new women. Don't get too hung up on one so soon. Let me make some calls. He pulls out his K-tie and flips it open. He is my guide sometimes. He has made this pilgrimage before and knows the way. Near the mouth of a narrow, trash-strewn alley, a drunken salaryman in a dark suit is pissing behind a scooter, using the seat to steady himself. The stream splatters not far from a man sleeping within a perimeter of cardboard boxes covered with newspapers. 5. I'm going out, flies, so relax. Make love. Aesop. Each gathering is like a snowflake. Friends and colleagues and acquaintances, all adrift in a land that's alien to us all. We cling to each other to speak English and find friendship, companionship, sex, love. It is concentrated life, as if we are the only humans in the entire world. We drink sake and Asahi Super Dry, shochu and Cabernet Sauvignon, and eat sushi and mochi, tuna pizza with mayonnaise, grilled pumpkin and fried noodles. And we throw away the fish cake a neighbor offered as a welcome gift. All the parties and social occasions are so similar, yet each with its uniqueness intact. Hilarious moments intertwined with conversations enthralling and vacuous, too many to recount, with more accents that I never imagined I would hear in one place, all steeped in the alien, unique culture we find so compelling, our uniqueness in it. We talk of discoveries and incidents in festivals or school. Oh my God, mate, you won't believe this. Aussies and Scots complain about being asked by their schools to speak in American English. Marie is often there, and we hug sometimes, but the aloofness never diminishes, not even I observe with other people. When I see this, I feel special, just a little bit. When she said there was no comfort, she was speaking the truth. There is little comfort even within her own smooth, lovely skin, and those dark eyes, so sparkling with intelligence, must overanalyze every nuance of her own existence. Phone numbers overspill the brim of my cell phone. If money permitted, I would never have to spend an evening at home alone. The starry ribbon looks a little wider now. The star song is louder. The lumps, pseudopods, have become arms and legs, and a head appears, a head with its own thoughts. The nucleus becomes a heart that starts to beat with its own emotions. 6. All the time I pray to Buddha, I keep on killing mosquitoes. Aesop. Talk the talk, buddy, he says, and walk the walk. We are on a pilgrimage of madness to the shrine of booty, where the music pumps and the buttocks grind and breasts gyrate and the air is redolent with sweat, perfume, and alcohol. I wear my pilgrim's jacket like armor. I judge myself a little for letting the excitement of the atmosphere seep into my veins, throbbing, driving my heart to a faster rhythm. Flesh and fantasy merge with the flashing lights. Green lasers slice through clouds of dry ice fog. The room of the club is small, but crammed with writhing, pulsing bodies. The floor glows with subterranean lights, the glow of hell. Not my kind of place, never has been. A wallflower's roots keep it bound in place. She gives me a glance as she squeezes past and smiles. A few steps further and she glances back at me again. With a taste of bourbon on my lips, it's time to let go. I stow the jacket and follow her. We share an extended kiss on the dance floor, but I never learn her name. 7. Even a flea bite, when she's young, is beautiful. Aesop. Empty women, dull women, stupid women, damaged women, crazy women. Why could I not recognize such things before I willingly flung myself into the chasm? Perhaps youth had created a fog to mask what lay deep down below. I had thought I was walking on clouds, but instead fell into the pit where demons live. The entirety of one gorgeous woman's online profile says in Japanese, "My hobby is sleeping, and I like cheese." She's hot, he says, whistling as he takes in the image on the screen. And she is. Yeah, for maybe 10 minutes. How much time do you need? Anything can be made attractive with enough work on the package. Open it up and reveal the canker or the emptiness, or the irreparable fractures. Close it back up and put it away among the stack of lessons learned. 8. A group of them gazing at the moon, not one face beautiful. Basho. Men have an equal number of similar counterparts, and they speak with any language or accent. Endless variations, like paint swatches of shades of mediocrity in an Ace Hardware paint aisle. The parade of average misfits marching through time to their ultimate destination, oblivious nothing. How can one not be them? And more importantly, how can one be sure when the question becomes irrelevant? 9. We humans, squirming around among the blossoming flowers. Esai. And then she calls. From 7,000 miles away, her voice shatters your ledge and flings you screaming with denial and despair back into the pit. The same voice emanates, distorted, husked, and breathless, from the maws of the demons closing in on you. Other demons bear your features, your old thought patterns, and they shamble and flop to your defense, stupid and slow to wrath. They have never been a match for hers, and never will be. The fog closes above, obscuring the star ribbon, as her voice slashes through thousands of miles of phone line, amplified, buffered, and re-amplified hundreds of times. Its vehemence, neediness, fear, and rage undiminished. Your defenders die in droves. As you wither once again into that too familiar, pliable, invertebrate lump that once only could dream of the stars, you can still feel the presence of the star ribbon, and the voices of the star song resonate in your memory. 11. Autumn evening. It is no light thing being born a man. Esai. The fog recedes and the withered pulp's eyes turn skyward toward rare and exquisite spots of luminescence. They are whereof the romance poets speak. Like an astronaut, it reaches for the stars. Astronauts require years of training, experience, persistence to even reach Earth orbit. How can it not try again? The withered pulp charges trundling for the foot of the escarpment, and with fresh and growing alacrity throws its appendages higher, tugging, higher, clinging, quivering, higher, higher. But the initial way is easier now. It has been here before. Sometimes it finds that it must change course or backtrack. A promising, inviting cleft proves a distraction and blocks its path. And it finds that effort has been wasted, but it will never reach the end of the pilgrimage without going back to retry a new route. Buddy, what are you thinking? He says. Are you seriously going to pass her by? Sometimes a guy just needs to get laid. She stands alone across the crowded room, another gathering of aliens. She has already regaled me with tales of Ned Kelly, the notorious Aussie bushranger and rebel folk hero. She is tall, smart, kind, generous, pleasant, and too hungry. I meet her eyes across the room again, and she holds my gaze, and I feel nothing. Buddy, she wants you, seriously. I feel nothing until I walk away, and then the emotion floods me with fluttering excitement as I can hear the star song clearly now, a celestial waltz. 12. A caterpillar, this deep in fall, still not a butterfly? Basho. Is a caterpillar's life wasted if he becomes too late? If the winter comes and he is still in his cocoon, does he end his life as a butterfly or a caterpillar? Is it acceptable for the caterpillar to remain the caterpillar, to not metamorphose into some beautiful fluttery thing, to while away the hours of its life placidly munching on leaves, and then to die with its purpose unfulfilled? That depends on the caterpillar. What switch within the intellect of the caterpillar tells it that, God damn it, it is time to become, to grow? Why does the switch come later for some caterpillars? How different the perceptions of the butterfly from those of the caterpillar. New sensations, never before experienced, nor even within the previous realm of possibility, because the two halves of that small life exist in different worlds. New smells, new sights, new tastes, new challenges to surmount, new distances to cross, but easier now with wings. You flit from flower to flower, seeking the nectar most appealing to your unique taste. You might not be able to put words to why, but you know what you like when you encounter it. It is what drives you, that exquisitely warm tingle of recognition, and you barely remember your days as a caterpillar. 12 or 13, I lost count. 13. Writing shit about new snow for the rich is not art. Aesop. I lose myself in the landscape as I sit at the summit of Kiyomizu Mountain, looking out over the verdant coastal plain, a patchwork of rice paddies and vegetable fields stitched together with pinpoints of street light and sprinkled with greenhouses and shops. My legs throb and my t-shirt is soaked with sweat. My bicycle rests on its side a few paces away, exhausted. History rises up out of the landscape, and the distant streetlights become lanterns. The asphalt roads become earthen paths, and off to the southwest toward the Ariake Sea, Yamagawa Castle, raised centuries before by a jealous shogun, looms out of the fog. The distant traffic noise becomes the subsonic thrum of a taiko drum on a far-off mountaintop. Boom, 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 boom. I feel the insignificance of my place here. As dusk descends, the clear, resonant note of the temple bell tolls through the trees. The incandescent lights of the temple below me, down the mountain, become candles and lanterns, and the priests no longer wear spectacles. I pull out my notebook. Haiku in English and Japanese spill from my pencil, another and another and another. My sneakers become zori, my mountain bike a walking stick, and a conical straw hat rests on the ground beside me. I forget her. I forget Marie and Mara and Miwa and Mayu and Maki and Masako and Masayo, Chio and Chie and Chieko, Yuka and Yukiko and Yoshiko and Yoko, Kimiko and Kazuko, Anne, Andrea, Alexis, and Juana. I forget the unrequited friends and the successes and the failures and the near misses. I forget the accomplishments, the yet unachieved dreams and regrets. I scribble truths and fears and rages and triumphs. My heart beats faster, and suddenly the moon is above me, and my fude trails to a stop, spent. I stand up and tuck my scroll and ink brush away, pick up my straw hat and walking stick. Behind me, near the footpath, a man sits against a maple tree and sketches. I greet him with a bow, and with a grin he shows me his drawing, an image of me, hunched in creation, overlooking the plain below. The scent of incense reaches me on the wind. 14. Another year gone, hat in my hand, sandals on my feet. Basho. With a final Herculean effort, the lump, now become a man, throws his arm over the lip of the precipice, slings a leg up next and rolls onto his back. For a while he lies there, gasping, his newly formed muscles and tendons burning from the effort till he looks up into the sky. The stars look no closer than before, but the expanse of the firmament is breathtaking, beyond his previous imagination. The bottomless vastness above pulls at him and twinkles just for him. After a while he gets up, dusts off his pilgrim robes, and adjusts his zori, settling his straw hat on his head, and picks up his walking stick. All around him is a vast, dark, starlit plain, and in the distance, a mountain so high that it reaches the stars. But the plain is not safe. It is pocked with crevasses, chasms, sinkholes, slices, and spots of blackness. His new eyes reach far. Travelers dot the plain, starry-eyed men and women, other pilgrims, all of them moving steadily or in leaps and spurts toward the mountain. He wonders if she lies somewhere in her own chasm, hounded by her own demons, and hopes that someday she might find her way out of it. He turns his feet toward the mountain and walks on new legs. Nearby, a dark shape heaves itself up out of a sinkhole and lies there gasping with exhaustion. He walks closer, waits for it to catch its breath, and then offers his hand. She takes it, tentatively, and he helps her to her feet. They walk together toward the mountain and, along the way, help other pilgrims to their feet, those just emerging from their own private depths. He recognizes some of them further ahead along the trail. He glimpses starlight sometimes, flickering from within their travelers' robes. They pass hundreds of chasms of infinite variation, chasms where the roar of demons and the wails of their victims reverberate from the depths. The pilgrims cannot help them. Occasionally, dim shapes of pilgrims in the distance misstep and disappear into those black maws, lost. Companions come and groups congeal and break away, all in a never-ending passage toward the mountain. He reaches the upswelling skirt of the mountain. Traces of pilgrim lanterns festoon the upward paths, and now he can see the other mountains, taller mountains in the distance, other heights to climb. But first, this one. And he smiles as the sounds of star song echo down the slopes. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Internet. And I'm going to ask you to bend over to pick it up, 'cause I'm not on. My show isn't up till later.
Up next, I would like to introduce Joe Riss. Give him a big hand.
Cheer it again for Travis here, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't realize there was more people over here. This is fucking awesome. So, okay. Oh, there's just like a 5 or 6 over here. So. Yes. No, I just got here like 5 minutes. Allison, how you doing? Okay, so. No, like I came running in about 10 to 20 minutes ago, and so it just, yeah, I looked like a burnt lobster and a wet dog and all kinds of other fun things. But, yeah, so thank you guys for coming out, as always. Want to thank Ann Myers, the Diamond, and Evangelical for putting on this awesome show. But yeah, we got all kinds of wonderful random type of things. We are streaming live online right now, are we? We're not crashed? Hi, Will. Will Ross is watching inside the computer. What we're doing. Hope we're all cool. I was really self-conscious about going bald for my recent hairline until I met Mr. Will Ross, so he's a good dude in that respect. But, yeah. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. Anyways. We're gonna rock and roll. I like that. I don't know who the fuck said that, but I like that. So, anyways. This one's called autophobic. Autophobia. It's a fear of oneself. Have you ever been disgusted by a mirror? Thought about what that image represented? When was the last time you lied awake at night torturing yourself with what you've done or haven't done? It's in our nature to make excuses. We tell lies to avoid punishment or gain rewards, or both. But when you're alone with yourself, it's tough to hide the truth. The party ends, then your friends all leave, and there's no one to appreciate your fake smile and your designer furniture. You feel naked in an empty parking lot. I fucked that one up. I'm sorry. Anyways, you feel like you're naked in an empty parking lot. You're scared because you know you've been hiding something from yourself. You've run from it for so long, either you forgot why you were scared in the first place. It's all catching up to you like a pack of predators, and now you're in the jaws of the wolf, and there's nothing to protect you from the facts, from the truth, from the consequences, and yourself. You built this house of cards on a fault line because you like the view, and now it's all coming down around you like you knew it would one day. And if you're honest with yourself, you can keep this folly from becoming a full-blown failure, but even the thought of that label terrifies you more than you ever thought words could. You'll hide it in the company of friends, you'll wash the stain with alcohol, you'll cover the wound with another lie, and just like that, you're on the run again. Deep inside, you know this isn't incompetence, it's negligence. You're not afraid of failure, you embrace it. You apply that label to yourself to excuse you from your dreams, afraid of what you might become. You're afraid of yourself. But maybe we're all just a little bit autophobic. I was about to say, holy shit. Oldie but goodie, but no, severely dehydrated at this point in time. Corey, how we doing? All right, awesome. All kinds of surprisingly familiar faces walking in right now. But yeah, so people I think I recognize and a few others too, but I think it might just be heat exhaustion or dementia or something of that nature. It's fucking hot outside, in case you guys didn't get that memo. Yeah, landscaping for the last 2 days, and I do not do snakes. Have an irrational fear. People don't understand this. Yeah, it just someone hired me to clear all the weeds out of this giant flower bed, and I'm like, okay, hey, cool, yeah, let's make some money, easy stuff, right? Well, of course, it's a block wall, and it's just just snakes all over the fucking place. And I got there this morning, and we've been having wars all day, so. Anyways, where are we? We have a bit more. I'm sorry, but I just noticed this once again, like I just fucking arrived. We've got $10 for St. Monica's House in the box, so they do some awesome things. I mean, as you're going by, getting drinks at the bar, etc., throw some money in there. I mean, any one of the samurai could easily wind up in there tomorrow. So, this is a very, very important cause to us tomorrow. It's not funny because it's true, and you know it. But I apologize for being so disorganized here. I know I have poetry here somewhere. Okay, while we're paging through all that, I had just this oddly profound conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and it seems like, I don't know if it's just something in the water or this time of year, the heat catching up to everybody, but a lot of my friends and family have been complaining about the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And a very good friend of mine, we met up, we had coffee, and she was talking about something completely unrelated, one of her exes, I believe. And she was saying that, it's he was always, looking for the next big thing, and once I get this out of the way, then I'll be happy, or I'll be able to, calm down and chill out once this or that happens in my life. And she said, it's all the thing you never realized was that the problems, all of the flat tires and, paychecks that didn't show up when they were supposed to, and, little things like that, shit that you didn't plan for, those are part of your life too. And so, just embrace that, live your life, learn from your failures and your experiences. And that was just kind of a big moment for me. Just got me thinking for a couple days, so there's that, but anyways. We're going to do some oral interpretation. I am moving cross country here soon, out to Portland. Kind of scary, didn't really expect this to happen, but it is. So, oops, sorry. Anyways, yeah, this is an Against Me song called Armageddon, and it is kind of fitting. So, yeah. And I apologize for the sweat. Extra people. Anyways, here we go. One night we lay beside each other, so close to a sweat, with two fans circling overhead. We sleep on borrowed time. And the traffic lights direct empty roads. The stars can't break the city sky, but they still try, despite what they know is already true. And tomorrow we'll take aim, like the storm waiting for a calm. I can feel everything coming, and in my chest, my heart's already pounding. My head's on far-off highways, 16 years old, on a road that never ends. My drive often is something that looks like a sunset. It lasts forever, and I never look back. And for the 4-year-old girl found dead in a dumpster, shot by her mother, her eulogy's the sound of construction through head-to-head traffic, as today's just another day. Me and my friends are just growing into the drunks and the liars that we've always hated. Every shortcoming has trapped us. Every mistake is now our own infinite failure. So we'll steal every chance we get. Every advantage is taken when no one's looking. We'll hide behind closed doors. We won't stop until we are the people we decide we should be. I want to be the shock heard around the world. Fucking unstoppable. This distance is not something we'll regret. Between here and now and then and forever, and days after that, till the very end. From Hoboken to LA, from Portland to Gainesville, from the Great Plains to Niagara, Route 66 straight to California. Electric lights carry the night. We move in 4/4 time, on our feet, on wheels, and in the sky. We're going because we would die if we stayed here. And these dying dreams will carry what's good and real and pure, and the rest can burn in hell. Thank you.
Where am I at on time? Okay. Well, fine, be that way. See if I care. Jeez. You're not my real mom. Okay.
Just to make me call you Daddy.
We'll come up with a 3/5 compromise later. Anyways. Given that the theme of the weekend is dreaming, not a lot of my stuff is about dreams, but I thought that I would offer into evidence something that is. And so, we're all about great art and poetry, but I'll be doing, there's a section in Henry Rollins' Black Coffee Blues, ladies and gentlemen, called 61 Dreams, which is kind of a bunch of his dreams from, I think, 86 to 89, his dream journal, and there's some pretty crazy fucking stuff in here. But once again, for the record, this is Henry Rollins' Black Coffee Blues, copyright 1992, Rollins and 21361 Productions, Library of Congress number, one second, I got this. I want to be sure here. I want to be fucking sure. I've got plenty of problems of my own right now. I do not need angry moms with torches and pitchforks outside my apartment. The insurance money would be great, but I mean, I've got some stuff that I'd like to keep, so. All right, Library of Congress number 1-880-9er85-55-1. If you need me to repeat that, I'll be here after the show. I promise. Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Covering my ass. Hey, I'm just making up for, lost time. Greg Ginn is sleeping. He opens his eyes and sees a large window in front of him. Across the window is a piece of white cloth with the Black Flag logo on it. A coffin comes smashing through the window. Down the street, a group of kids run away laughing. They run to a hearse and tell the driver that it's time to make a getaway as they all pile into the back. The driver yawns and slowly gets in the hearse and drives it away. A woman straps me to a chair. I remember that there's a place that will inject music into your head so you'll have music continually for weeks without having to turn on the stereo. I assume that I'm in this place. She sticks a large needle into my head and I can feel the juice go in.
There's one.
Here we go. A naked woman is walking on a lawn. A male voice asks, "Where are you going?" She does a backbend and says, "Over and under." All there is to see is the space between her legs. She has a large gaping anus and a pronounced vulva. The voice asks her if she likes some bank. She says, "Why should I go to that bank when mine has intertelling?" At that moment, she stands up and has all this viscous liquid comes rushing from her vagina. She lies down and a man about 1 foot high with a large cock walks between her legs and starts fucking her. She smiles and lets out a long sigh. The amazing thing about all this is Rollins is completely straight edge. I think he's drank alcohol like twice in his life, so hey, I don't even come up with shit like this, but... I go to a record store. Dennis Hopper is there. I go up to him and tell him that I am a big fan of his. He tells me to fuck off. These aren't poems. These are just Rollins' dream journals, so hey. I'm trying here, people. I promise I am. It's okay. Ted Nugent is doing an interview telling me about how he got shot in the face. He points to a hole in the side of his face and refers to God as Big Daddy. I think that may have actually happened. Two girls and a guy have sex in a crib. Two girls and a man hold a baby in front of a mirror. They strangle it. Dear God, man. I have to fuck a guy in a movie. A spider and a fish try to fuck. It doesn't work. All kinds of fun times. Oh, wait. Okay, I got one more here. One more and then the fun stuff. I promise.
They told me to fill 20 minutes. I'm totally sorry.
No, seriously, this is all my fault. I could stand up here and talk about like what I had for breakfast, and it just fill like half an hour with that. So theoretically, this is more entertaining. I can't really tell at this point in time, but hey, it's all good. Obviously, I have not drunk enough to do this yet, but hey. I'm sorry. Like I said, craziness. I turned down a booty call today because I was just that fucking tired. So trust me, we were like running on fumes. Sunburned, blistered, everything else. And just working out in the sun for the last 2 days. I have this and some other shit to take care of later tonight. It's like, hey, sex tonight? I'm like, yeah, no, I know that's going to end tragically for me. So, just knowing when to fold them. It's very, very important.
No, 2 words. Reverse cowboy. Really?
Do you have any idea how fucking dehydrated I am right now? And I'm drinking.
Gatorade, man.
All right. And vodka. Okay. I might have to get back to her apparently. We'll see. All right. David Bowie, my mother, G. Gordon Liddy, and I get out of a van and go into a shopping mall. I'm asking Bowie a lot of questions about his music. He doesn't want to talk to me. Liddy goes into the mall to complain. My mother says that she remembers him from the Nixon era, and there's no use in trying to stop him. The rest of us decide to go in and get some food while he's complaining. I'm wearing a blue sweatshirt, half on, half off. Bowie asked me why I have my shirt like that. I tell him it's part of the way the gang I'm in dresses. At that moment, a man comes from behind a pile of boxes and starts shooting at me. And that's all from Mr. Rollins. Fully credited. Motherfuckers! Okay. And... It's in here, I promise. Everybody having a good time so far? People in the bar, are we having a good time? Fucking awesome, that worked. People downstairs, can you hear me? Damn it. Okay. I was on a roll there. Feel it. What was after that? Okay, but, yeah, one particular piece that a lot of people like hearing. It's been a long and frustrating week for a number of reasons. So, I'm definitely in the mood to put the energy behind this it deserves. If it's in here. I did mark it. Okay, am I good? Alright. Okay. We're here, really we are. But, yeah, when I got the email originally from Ann Myers that the subject line was, you must be dreaming, my initial reaction was, hey, normally I don't hear that until after I make a pastor woman, but that was diffused almost instantly when I opened the morning Reddit saying, hey, can you do this show? But, hey. I'm used to this, really I am. Why do you think I really turned down the booty call? Okay. We're gonna do this off the cuff. This one's called Epitaph. 6 months have passed since we went our separate ways, but the memories of you still send my mind barreling into a self-destructive tailspin and turn my gut to ice. I miss the way you used to look at me. Your eyes, dark and mysterious as a storm cloud. Fuck. Pause. It's in this fucking book, I know it is. Okay. Yes. Clap for Tinkerbell. Here it is. Okay, we found it. Way too far forward, like everything else. Will, if you're watching, I'm sorry. You can come back from those ridge now. I'm ready. But for all of our viewers at home. 6 months have passed since we went our separate ways, but memories of you still turn my gut to ice and send my mind barreling into a self-destructive tailspin. I miss the way you used to look at me. Your eyes, dark and mysterious, like a storm cloud. Your smile, slow and warm like the sunrise on the day we met. But when you looked at me from behind those crimson locks of hair and told me to smile without saying a word, I was invincible. You gave me the courage to ask more of myself, and I thank you dearly for that. But I can't get past the unanswered questions, the broken promises, and the lies you told with a smile on your face on the way out. You told me I could open it up again. You told me you were in it for the long haul. You told me I could trust you. But to use your own words against you, actions speak a fuck ton louder than words. Most of all, I cannot forgive what you took from me. My heart, my happiness, my faith in humanity, these things are farewell of friends at best. I wasn't surprised to see that all, to see that go. But that piece of myself that you ripped out and stomped on, that shard of myself that I swore I would always keep intact, if only privately, the unkindest cut of all that lit a raging inferno of hate was when you took my dignity! But I fucking dealt with that too. I washed the stain with alcohol. I let the rain wash that from my conscience. And had friends better than I deserved. And the most patient and understanding person I've ever met to get me back on my feet. And after all the shit you dragged me through, you have the gall to tell me that you still love me. Maybe you should have thought about that the night you cheated on me. Maybe you should have thought about that when you laughed about it and lied to my face. Maybe you should have thought about it. Oh, hi. Yes, the wee roots, I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe you should have thought about that the day you left me stuttering like a clown in front of my coworkers. You still love me, and that scares you. Welcome to my personal level of heaven. The most appropriate epitaph that I can put on all this is a line from the single greatest punk rock band of all time, Bad Religion. And that's that you painted my entire world, and I don't have a turpentine to claim that you have soiled. And I won't forget it. Thank you. And since absolutely no one can follow that performance, we have an intermission coming up. Refill your drinks, get your food, throw some money at us, well, at St. Monica's house. And when we come back, we will have Ephemerly on stage here.